So Jeff, not everybody knows you.
Hey.
Most people know you, but not everybody knows you. And we're going live, so there's plenty of people that don't know you. So please give us an overview of you, how long you've been in the business, where you're at with your business, and what it looks like.
Yeah, so I'm a native of the area, born and raised in Palm Harbor. I got into real estate really in 2004 by accident by buying a house and flipping it, which caused me to then buy a condo. So I got into selling real estate when I was 20 when that developer hired me to sell that condo conversion. So I did that for a few years. Then I did commercial real estate for a couple of years. And then I was fortunate enough to join this office in, I think December 8th, 2011. So ever since then, I've been with KW and kind of floated along for a few years, just kind of doing enough to make enough money to pay the bills. And then I decided to get serious in 2015, went from 34 transactions in 14 to 85 in 15, then decided to start building a team. Sold 126 properties in 2016. Then in 2017, decided to be a MAPS coach and a KWU approved trainer. We sold 175 units that year, then 181. Then last year we sold 234. And this year we're probably going to be about 210, 215. So a little dip back. And the only reason for that is frankly my poor leadership during the initial COVID experience in March and April, if you will. So since then, September, we're actually having our best month ever. We have 5 support staff, 1 VA, and we now have 1 expansion agent in Venice, and our hub team has 10 agents.
Wow. So I know that about you, and I love that you always are growing and pushing yourself to evolve and be better and better. And I know that's a daily thing for you. Yet I'm curious, back in 2015, what happened that made you go from single agent mindset? Because a lot of folks on here are like, you know, doing 10 or 24 deals a year or whatever, wherever they're at. What was that flip? What was the flip? What switch flipped? And what did you do to go exponential like that?
I think I got tired of using other people as an excuse, and I got tired of just not living up to my potential. So in Mega Camp 2014, so that's September of 2014, I was sitting in a room for a mastermind, and I was the smartest person in the room, including the person moderating the mastermind. So literally, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And versus fast forward, now I'm in Gary's mastermind. So when I'm in that room, I'm one of the dumbest people in the room. And that's
okay. Wait. You're in Gary Keller's mastermind. You got to point that out. You're in Gary Keller's group, not because we think Gary Ubaldini, yes. Right?
Yeah. So being in Gary Keller's mastermind, I get to be the dumbest person in the room, which is, I went from being the smartest person in the room to being the dumbest. And, that's where I want to be because, when, for my team's business planning next Thursday and Friday, we're having we have 2 guest speakers, both of which are in the top 25 of all of KW that are now friends of mine. So because of that, being in that mastermind, I get to leverage those relationships, pour into my team at a higher level. And things of that nature just don't happen when you're the smartest person in the room. So I'm a pain versus pleasure guy. I run away from pain, and I was so pained that day in masterminds. I was honestly I was sitting there and I was like, what am I doing here? And then my son was born in December, and because of that, I condensed my work day. In 2013 and 14, I would work any hour, I go to the gym at 9 a.m., 10 a.m., then go to work at 12, and then go to a networking event at 6. And then when my son was born, I was at the office every day at 8 o'clock, and then I was leaving the office every day by 3 o'clock. So I made myself have an 8 to 3 work day. And because of that, I condensed my work day, and I actually got more done during the day than I did when I had free reign.
Isn't it amazing how you can just get a little more purposeful? It's amazing what you can get done when you choose to. It's like going on vacation. It's amazing how miraculous we can be to get out of town, right? Or get ready for that vacation. It's like rock star mode.
Everyone gets business.
Right, but you're rock star. You just decided to go rock star mode. You know what? Something you said that just triggered me was, when you're sitting in that room and you knew you needed to level up, but you were the top, you were the lid of your knowledge base, and you actually got a smirk on your face when you said it. And I think what it is you found a worthy opponent, because you're a competitive guy, aren't you? But when you're
At
there's
that.
no one that you didn't have a worthy opponent to go chase and go after. Now you've got the top 100 with Gary to take down, and in a friendly, supportive way, because those are your buddies, right?
Yeah, and even you keep recruiting so many top agents and teams. We've lost a couple or a few months this year, and that frankly doesn't make me too happy. And while we're number one for the year, we're not number one for the year by enough, right? And it's not that we're competing with the people in this office.
You're
It's not that
competing
we're
with your
competing with the people in
potential.
this
You're not.
office.
It's not arrogant. You're
And
competing with
that's
your
that's what
potential.
it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need a reminder though when you see that and you're like, nothing against anybody else in this office or in Gary's group, but if they're doing it, why can't we, or why can't we do it better? And when you see somebody rising up and frankly you see that they have the eye of the tiger more than you do at the moment, like if you got complacent, because I've gotten complacent in this journey, at times the last couple of years, where you're like, well, making pretty good money, the team's doing its thing. And sometimes you need that little punch in the gut, like COVID was a punch in the gut to me financially. I mean, I lost money, doing stupid trades in the stock market. My mindset was off, which caused my real estate team to not sell enough real estate. So financially, this year has been awful for me. And yet, because of that, I'm coming out the other side again, even better and stronger. And like I said, we're going to have our best month this year ever. And that's just going to continue. So my team's actually stronger today than it was before COVID. I just had to go through a little bit of pain first to get here.
Well, and I want to stop on that for a second, because I think some people look at you and think, "Oh gosh, she's got it so dialed in," and da da da. You've had to take a step forward, 2 steps back, step forward. It's not just been easy peasy, has it? So let's talk about some of those evolutions you've had and what were some of the critical things you did, because 80% of our office doesn't have Amanda. They don't have your phenomenal rock star team that you've developed. So when you go back in time and you think of Jeff alone, and then first few things that you did right, what were some of those things that you did that were exponential gave you exponential success moving forward?
Yeah. Well, being purposeful about anything or everything. So I hired 2 part-time assistants, well, 1 part-time assistant and then a full-time assistant. And I just did it the easy button way. I mean, and I hired someone that had already been an assistant on somebody else in the office. So I'm like, well, she already knows what she's doing. I'll just hire her. The first hire, the part-time hire was, just a friend. So it's like, oh, well, you're competent. You can come work in the office. And what I got was somebody that wasn't bought in the first time. And then the second time I got a task doer, which, there's nothing wrong with a task doer, and who was pretty good at it too. Like she was good at the job. She just wasn't a builder. She wasn't going to go hire somebody else. She wasn't going to really build out systems. She already had some checklists. She could follow the checklist. She could do the job, if that makes sense.
Well, and that wasn't
So
a
by
bad
me
first
pouring,
hire, right? That wasn't a bad first hire, because it got you to be able to let go of some stuff and kind of helped you. So it's not like a bad hire having a taskmaster, right? But at the same time,
oh, yeah, definitely wasn't the first hire was a bad hire. The second hire wasn't a bad hire. It just wasn't a great hire. And there's an old phrase not an old phrase, but good isn't good enough if it can be great. And if you want to grow a big business, then good isn't good enough. And that's what I had. I had okay, or I had good. And until I went to Recruit Select 3 times and finally, had Nikki smack me over the head enough to say, follow this process, that I did find Amanda Dahl, which obviously helped me enable us to grow, because when we needed a second hire, I wasn't doing the second hire. I'm not really the largest fan of the hiring process, right? Like slowing down and being very task oriented isn't my thing. So I'm pretty good at doing a couple of the meetings in the career visioning process, but honestly, I don't even today want to do the whole thing. If we're hiring a sales manager, I'll be heavily involved, obviously. If we're hiring an agent, I'll be involved. I'll do motivation. I'll do a screening interview. I'm involved, but I don't want to own the project. So even for our second admin, I sent Amanda to recruit select. So I needed someone else with the bandwidth that could do the stuff that I don't want to do so that I can lead generate and I can build relationships and referral partners and do what I like to do. Because it's not always about what your 20% is. Once you're successful, it's about what you like to do. Because if you grow a huge business and make a lot of money and just freaking hate your life, what's the point?
Right.
So it's also finding what I like to do and what do I want to stay in.
So you put yourself in a position where you're in your sweet spot most of the day.
It doesn't feel like it right now, Jessica. And yet, yes, that's what I did. That's what I did for 2016 and 17 is I had myself set up to be in my 20% where I was lead generating. I was going on listing appointments and I was answering contract, stuff, negotiations for the agents on the team, and teaching them and training them. And then honestly, what happened is when I was a MAPS coach and a KWU trainer for 17 and the first half of 18, I almost got like disconnected from my own team. And, so that's actually a miscue is I learned a lot by being a coach and by being a trainer, and I'm still a trainer. I just don't train as much. I just did business planning back to back on Thursday and Friday, though. That was fun. And what happened is I got disconnected from my team. And what I decided is I wanted to take all the knowledge that I had learned from coaching and training and bring it back to my team. And that's why my team started growing again. And we popped last year and grew by 53 units and 22 million in volume is because I poured back into my team. And that's one of those miscues is you never forget your bread and butter. So make sure you're taking care of your bread and butter, whether that's your top 5 referral partners, whether that's the top agent on your team, whether that's your top admin. We've got to always be buttering our bread. And that's a lesson that I learned.
Love it. That's a great lesson, and it's not about perfection. It's about progress, isn't it? You keep progressing.
Absolutely.
You might take a step back, but you take 2 forward.
Did you hear Tim Heil talk at Mega Camp?
I have not heard his session yet. What was his big message?
Well, the big takeaway for me was that he had grown all the way to 75 agents throughout his organization, and he's now down to 25 agents, and he's making more money. He's making more money with 25 agents than he did with 75 agents. So it's not always like bigger isn't always better. It's about running a great business that's highly profitable. And we need those reminders too, because last year, another miscue was hire more agents. I wanted to just grow for the sake of growing, versus hiring the right people and growing organically. I was just like, let's just bring on 8 more agents and we'll sell more houses.
Right.
And that's not healthy.
Okay, so I know there's lots of people on here that will have questions. So if you have questions, let's put them in the chat or mute yourself if there's anything you want to ask Jeff right now. I want to dive into opportunity because now is opportunity time in my world. And I know it is for you as agents, and yet most agents are kind of beat up with this year. This year's been tough personally, professionally, in a lot of ways, for a lot financially, just extra stress, extra effort in everything that we're doing. People are tired. So, but yet I see the opportunity because I've been in this for a long time. Where are the opportunities? If you were talking to me and I was an agent in the office that you sponsored in, and maybe I'm in my 2nd year only and I'm kind of down and out right now and got the wind knocked out of me basically by COVID and everything else in the world, what would be the advice you'd give me?
Talk to more people.
I like it. I like it.
Here's what's fascinating is that the outbound calling right now, I think, is at its lowest level in our area that I can remember. I mean, if you call expireds right now, they don't say, oh, you're the 50th agent to call me. I mean, it's amazing. I think that people aren't prospecting. And so we have that. So outbound prospecting, texting for sale by owners from your own phone. So we, on our team, we text every for sale by owner. from a handheld phone, and we welcome them to the market, and we let them know that we're here as a plan B. So really that we're here in passive, lead gen, and we are listing, not a million. We're listing 2 or 3 FISBOs a month though, and I'm not hearing from these people. Like 2 years ago, if I called and said, "Hey, I'm Jeff Borham with Keller Williams," they'd go, "Keller Williams, you're the 20th agent to call me." Now, if you call and say, "Hey, my name's Jeff Borham with KW," they're like, "I'm going to sell the home myself." I mean, you're going to get whatever their objection is. Yet it's not, "Oh my goodness, you're the 20th agent to call me." So
Right.
that's one. Don't be afraid of the phone. B, what we learned from MegaCamp and Google is that more people are interested with the internet than ever. Like, we didn't already know that. So we're doubling back down, and I hate to say that, yet it's the truth, on reviews. We're bringing in now over 5 reviews every single week, and video. I don't know if anybody follows me
I've
on
seen
social
your video.
media.
You've
My
done
video,
some kick butt video. Wow. Yeah. So tell us about the video.
yeah. So those are my 2 things for the internet: way more video and reviews. So videos. For instance, we listed a house a week and a half ago in West Chase on Radcliffe, 10203. It's a 3,400 square foot brand new tile roof, golf course view house if you have a buyer. And I did a video on it. And we already, because of that video, already got a buyer from Atlanta that's selling in Atlanta and buying here. And they didn't have an agent in Atlanta. So I'm getting a referral. I referred them to an agent in Atlanta for a $700,000 listing. So way more video. I've been using my stories a lot, Instagram story, Facebook story, anything to get attention, and we're backing this up. We also did just join Rate, which is radio and television experts. So I don't know if any of you listen to 102.5 The Bone. We're now on the drive time on radio. So I've been listening. I've listened to Grant Cardone 10X a couple times during COVID. And in Grant Cardone's first 18 years in the business, he spent more money in marketing during the Great Recession than he did in his first 18 years. And I'm not suggesting that you guys go blow all your money. That's not my point. My point is if you can afford to invest in yourself on something that works, to go for it. So for me, it's Jeff Borham is a marketable item. So I can't look at myself as a person. I have to look at myself as a brand, and I didn't do that before. Up until now, even when you're successful and, "Oh, you sold 234 homes last year, blah, blah, blah," I would downplay that versus embracing it. So now I'm embracing it with video. I want everybody to know the name Jeff Borham. They may not hire me, they may not even like me, yet they're going to know who I am. So via radio, via videos, via social media pushes, like we can use in command for really next to nothing. We're force feeding a lot of Jeff Borham everywhere, and that's how you become a household name, because Gary Keller tells us that it's mind share then market share. So are you willing to invest so that you can have more mind share, so that you can have more market share? And you can invest in multiple ways. You can invest in the phone. You can call all your database. You can text them. You can give them items of value. You can do marketing strategies like I'm discussing. There's limitless opportunities to take more mind share.
Absolutely. So with the videos that you do, kind of what is the topics that you're talking on? Is it market updates? Is it featuring properties? Give us a kind of laydown of what your video plan is. And then second to that is, once it's produced, how are you syndicating it out so it's getting traffic?
Yeah, so we're doing a wide variety. We're doing property featured videos. We're doing market update videos. We're doing a community update. So on Friday, I filmed a downtown St. Pete community video, for instance. So really a wide variety of videos. And then as far as getting traction, that's easy. So I mean, we have email lists, we have Facebook, we have Google, a little bit of ad spend behind it. Everything is on YouTube. So now we're pushing harder to get people to subscribe to our YouTube, so that, that's something that we're going to be ramping up as well.
So nothing out of the ordinary. It's just, you're just doing it dialed in at a high level.
Yeah, and people like energy, they like knowledge, and they like shiny stuff. I mean, this isn't anything you guys don't know. So when you're, when you're driving around downtown St. Pete and you show them the pier, you show them the museums. I mean, St. Pete's really an international city, and there's a lot of opportunity there and a lot of wealth there. And my team happens to have 3 people that live in downtown St. Pete. So that's an area I'm looking to bring in more business. And that's why I'm doing a video there. And then if you look at the West Chase video, is that it was really the Jeff Borham show highlighting a house. It wasn't a video about the house and Jeff was doing a little intro. I am the star of that video with the house being featured. And I think like I said, that's a transition piece, for me is I'm the guy that bought a billboard last year that had my team on it. Like it wasn't just about Jeff Borham. And what I found out in marketing is that it is about Jeff Borham. So when I'm doing a house video, it's about Jeff and there's also a house.
Right.
And because of that, we're going to bring more business and actually get the house more exposure.
Well, and when we look at statistics with COVID too, it's interesting because when you look at social platforms and search platforms, obviously Google rules everything. And yet Google and Facebook both get a billion with a B, unique users every month, and actually Google's to 2 billion now, and YouTube came from nowhere and hit the 2 billion mark during COVID because people were on YouTube searching how to. The #1 search real estate related was how to buy a home safely or how to sell a home safely during COVID. So if you're going to make a video, that's a good one to make right now, isn't it? And yet because Google owns YouTube, yeah, now that everyone's done it, maybe not. But now that knowing that Google owns YouTube, that's like the ultimate Google juice are these videos. So awesome. That's very cool. So opportunity obviously is to go get prospect because no one's doing it. You're not running a lot of competition. What is your 30? Now you've been known for having one of the best 36 touches around, meaning that you get a great return out of your database because of your communication and relationship management. Now, how has that changed during COVID, and how are you trying to keep that as a powerful thing?
You want to make me talk about controversial items, right?
No, but I'm just curious. I know. I mean, things are opening back up. I get it. However, how do you keep it going when you used to be events based and some of the things that you can't do or didn't do during COVID?
Yeah. So, I mean, most of you have probably heard me say this, that during COVID, you can literally call, text, Facebook message everyone in your database weekly and get away with it. So you can over communicate. So that, and I think that's why we went so hard on social media and videos, was keeping that whole top of mind was important to me with doing less face-to-face, because without events, that face-to-face is lost. So that's what took me the video route of, hey, when we email our database, it needs to be a video email. When we force feed Facebook, it needs to be a video. When I do social media, it needs to be a video, like of me, things like that. So a lot more video offset that. And then honestly, it just was good content, good videos, to the database, calling through them. And luckily we're back. We're already planning our fourth quarter in-person client referral partner event. So we only had to not be an event team for 6 months because I'm back. Lots of events for everybody, and that's that.
So you had a couple really good questions I just want to bring up. And I'm not sure who everyone is, so I'm just Jackie Little has a question. Do you ever feel pressure when you think of all the people counting on you? If so, how do you deal with that?
Yes.
Yes.
His answer is yes.
Tell us more.
I feel massive pressure, especially the last 6 months. It felt like you either had butterflies in your stomach, you have that like little tension in your neck. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, it's real. How do I deal with that? I deal with that by, I don't even know how I deal with it. I do a lot of affirmations, a lot of gratitude, meditation. I work out. You have to get the stress out. And then when you show up, you have to just show up the best that you can. And that's where I failed, like I mentioned in March and April, is I wasn't showing up that great and, snapping out of it, right? You can't let something keep you down, and you can't let the stress keep you down. And that's where open communication with your team is so important. What value are you bringing your people, and making sure that they know it and you're backing it up. And when you show up and do what you say you're going to do, the stress goes away, because then it's on their shoulders. And you just have to make sure that you're doing what's necessary to give them that opportunity. And yet it's really not my job to make the sales agent sell houses. It's my job to set them up for success to sell houses.
Like it. I like it. And you can either focus on what you can't control, or you can go put in action what you do have control over. And that really, trying to grab onto what you have no control over is definitely going to be stressful. And yet you just went for what you knew, right? I like it. One of the agents here asked, are you using Rate My Agent? If so, how is it going? Rate My Agent?
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. What are you using for your reviews then?
For reviews?
To get reviews? What are you?
Well, we use a Gather Up, which helps us get reviews, but we actually just send people to jeffborham.com/reviews. So let me just pull it up here.
And you have the ability to screen share.
Okay, I'll show them real quick. All right. So this is jeffborham.com/reviews.
So it's just a page on your website.
Page on my website, and we just have a widget pulling in new reviews. And the sites that we're looking for reviews from are Google #1, Facebook #2, Zillow #3, Realtor.com #4.
Good.
And I thought we had Yelp on here, so Yelp's gone. So I'll find out where
you can
Yelp
ditch
is,
Zillow now that Zillow's come clean, that they're 100% against you. You can probably ditch Zillow and go to Yelp right there.
Well, you know who my #1 has been for years. I mean, Jessica and I've been talking about Google for years, and Google is the #1 place that we send reviews. So I'm all about Google.
The Googling machine always helps you, because the Google juice is the ultimate SEO. So if you definitely want to dive into that. So Donna asked a question. Okay, so Danielle asks, are you strictly running, referral-based business where you're getting business from your sphere and things, or do you invest in any lead generation companies where they bring you leads? And if so, what are you investing in? What do you find valuable to invest in?
What do I find valuable, or what do I invest in?
Good question. ROIs aren't the same. So what does that look like for you?
We buy leads from ZBuyer. We buy leads via Boomtown still, which is just Facebook and Google as we're transitioning to Command. And that's really small ad budgets for a team my size. We don't spend a lot of money there, just a couple thousand total on leads. And like I said, we are on radio now, so that's my biggest marketing expense. So besides that, though, it's all database.
You're very organic.
We're huge with agents.
Yeah, you're huge with your relationships, including agents. And Amanda, I want to feature her because she has done so well this year with her own referrals, and she's in the ops side. So just from going to national events and stuff, she was sharing with me how many referrals she got this year, which was another income stream for her.
She's kicking butt from young professionals.
Yeah, it's just another part of your sphere.
Yeah, she's brought in multiple referrals from KW Young Professionals. So think about joining that.
If you're not too old like me, right? So talking Rolodex, because if I was going to be strategic, let's just say I relocated here and I didn't have a big sphere and I wanted to go the business to business route. You've done very, very well there. What would be the key lead sources you would find in your Rolodex right now when you look business to business more versus relationship and sphere? Even though that is part of your database, I get it.
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, it's attorneys, and and you have to be a special breed for that to be your niche. I love family law and probate attorneys, and now bankruptcy attorneys. Yet what I would when I teach this, what I always tell people is you don't have to copy me. I mean, if you know attorneys, that's great, and there's 8 trillion of them, so there's plenty to go around. Yet just ask yourself, who are the professions or the niches that can refer real estate regularly? Because if we have a database full of 9-to-5ers, you're only going to get so many referrals out of your database. We want to fill our database with salespeople, people that touch money every day. So that's financial advisors, CPAs, attorneys, trust officers, anything you can think of, bankers, anyone that touches money. And then we have business owners, so just movers and shakers, right? Because if they're entrepreneurs, they own a business, all of the people that I'm referring to understand the referral game. They do business by referral, they give referrals, they receive referrals. And when we play ball with more people that do business by referrals and they like you, guess what you're going to get more of?
Referrals.
Referrals.
Yeah.
It's not a magical formula. HR directors, HOA presidents, senior move managers. Anybody that's actively touching people that could want to buy or sell real estate, you can find, if you're like, oh, well, I love buyers, great. Wedding planners, pastors that facilitate weddings. There's so many different options for referral partners that can refer repeat business. Yet we need referral partners that can refer multiples. We don't need people well, I mean, not that we don't need them. We just don't want to hunt them. We don't want to seek them out. People that are going to give you one referral every 5 years. Those people you're just going to get naturally by living your life. You don't have to hunt them. We want to find and create relationships with the people that I'm talking about that can refer multiple pieces of business.
I know I did that early in my career. One of my friends was a wedding planner, kind of organizer / decorator / baby shower. And she just rocked my world. So you get a couple of those people, and all I had to do was pay for her booth at the wedding show. I'm like, I'll pay for that all day long. Let me have that list of people that keep registering at your booth, and we'll tag to it. And I think she was, early in my career, a big part of my success. That one human, that one person. So great. So think about that, guys. Who in your world, does that? Donna Saki had to step back into MRA. She's doing the MRA class with James, but she asked, are you willing to share your smart plans in command? Basically, she wants to know. She's curious, are you running smart plans yet? Have you even gotten into command that much yet, or not yet? No, not yet. I didn't think you did. So Jeff, when did you switch from cold calling to database lead gen? Hasn't been that long, right? Getting results through nurturing your database. So when did that happen? Were you always prospecting based?
Yeah. So that's just a misconception of me and my team. Because we were prospecting, people thought that we weren't doing the other. And what I teach is that we have 2 parallels at all times. We have our long game, which is our database, and we have our hunting game for now business. So just because we're doing this does not mean that we're not doing this. We're always doing this. We've always done that. In fact, 2015, when I sold 85 homes, of those 85 homes, 80 of them were from my database or referral sources. I mean, none of, literally, maybe 5 is an exaggeration as far as how few, maybe 10 of them were from other sources. 75 were from my database in some fashion. And my team, even in 2016 and 17, when everybody on the team was religiously making 100 contacts a week on the phone, we never fell below 60%, referral business. We've always been a database referral team.
So you're hunters and gatherers, right?
Well, listen, sometimes what you've gathered isn't enough for what you want right now, so you have to go find more.
Right. So with the fourth quarter ahead of us, where do you see obviously we have a lack of inventory. We've never had a lack of inventory this extreme. What are your predictions in forbearance and tsunami of refi happening and foreclosures potentially happening? We just I'll share this real quick before you comment. we just had our national call with Gary Keller, and he shared some really interesting factoids. Right now, there's 3.5 to 4 million mortgages that are at least 3 to 6 months behind. And the end of forbearance is timed right with January with many of them, where they're going to expire their forbearance opportunity. And some people have rose-colored glasses on, thinking there's enough equity they'll be able to sell and pull money out. And some are saying foreclosure. And it's going to be a hodgepodge, and each market's different. In Florida is 3 out of 10 homes are at least 3 months behind a mortgage. Now, I know that's a lot of factoids, but what do you see happening, or what are some of the predictions you're making in your mind?
Well, I mean, I talk to a lot of people, so it's not really Jeff Borham, because I'm not smart enough for that. What I'm hearing though from the people that I talk to is pretty rose-colored glasses, if you will. I mean, we've and a couple of us Florida agents have had some interesting conversations with Gary Keller, and Gary's giving the national numbers, and the people in Florida are like, hey Gary, what about us? And he's like, well, you guys are different. So I mean, even Gary's admitted that Florida is its own animal right now. We do have 1,000 people moving to Florida every day, and that will definitely help offset any.
I wonder how high that number's going to go up. There's so many people that seem to be saying.
We're going to have a when the market pulls back. I mean, we're going to have a pullback. I mean, that's just how markets work. So I mean, Florida won't be spared. It's not like we're that special. I think that what you're going to find is that when the pullback happens, it will definitely be less severe than 08 and 09, of course. And what you're going to find is even a lot of those forbearance mortgages, the government's going to twist the arms of those banks to make those processes as easy as possible, right, on the consumer.
Right.
And so for whatever it's worth, I mean, obviously I don't have a crystal ball. The agents that are even smarter than me, though, that I mastermind with in Florida, they don't think we have anything to worry about. And if we do have a pullback, so what? I mean, we had a pullback in March and April. I don't know if you guys realize this. In the third week of March, showings and showing time went down 60%. Mm-hmm. So if you look at the Florida stats for showing time, the third week of March, we had a 60% fall. That's literally a straight line down. For instance, those that follow the stock market, the NASDAQ went down 35%. Showings in Florida went down 60% in the third week of March. I mean, that is straight down. So we all came through March and April okay, didn't we? I mean, we survived. So, any pullback that we have is going to be less severe than what we saw in March and April. It will just be longer because it will be a natural pullback versus a, medical pullback for 2 months.
So question
so
with
can
that,
you all handle?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, can you handle a 10% pullback in the market? Of course, you got to have better scripts and dialogues for sellers around pricing. And when you figure that out, you're actually making more money coming out of it.
So knowing that the national, like Gary, when Gary Keller talks about what's happening nationally to his top 100, he's saying the temperature in America is 74 degrees, and we know that in Florida it's 89. So how do you intend to combat that, knowing that your database watches the news?
Yeah, I mean, great question. We do a consult, obviously with every buyer and seller, and we do bring Gary Ubaldini's mastermind info that he puts together for us. So it's really about educating the customer. And, when you have a buyer come in, luckily right now, honestly, I mean, the real estate market's pretty much hot everywhere. Ours just might be hotter than some places. And when the buyers come in here, you have to show them what homes are selling for. So if they're looking for a $400,000 home and the average list price to sold price ratio is 99%, are you showing them that? Not telling them, are you showing them? Are you educating them? In your buyer consult, are you pulling up the last 3 solds in the neighborhood and showing them they were on the market for 3 days and 5 days and, blah, blah, blah. And if it's an agent that call them and say, how many offers did you have on this house? Like when we provide the right information, we can educate anybody and at least slow or at least speed up their learning curve. Like some buyers some buyers have to write 5 offers until they write a 6th offer that's really good. Well, if you did a really awesome buyer consult and educated them, maybe they only have to make 1 bad offer before that 2nd offer they're willing to do what it takes to get the right house.
Right.
Our job
Well,
is to speed up the learning curve.
I like that. I like that a lot. So Jackie Little has a great question. Is your business balanced with 50% seller, 50% buyer? And second, so tell us what that looks like. And then with the market being as fast as it is, how are you capitalizing with your listings to try to pull more leads before they sell so fast?
So much to my chagrin, we are not even close to 50-50 this year. It's really bad. So I am not who you want to emulate on a 50-50 business, unfortunately. We are, I'll tell you what we are. Oh, we are ugly.
Have you ever been
Give me 1 second.
50-50?
I've been right there. You know, last year we were 55-45. This year we're probably 60-40.
Well, and that's just, I
2
think,
seconds, I'll tell you what it is.
scarcity of listings. I mean, listings are, we're not tripping over them like we were.
Yeah, we're exactly 60-40. And honestly, again, I mean, I've reiterated it 3 times. A lot of that's my fault in March and April, just stinking up the place, to be honest with you. I mean, this month we've taken 10 or 11 listings, which isn't great. Yet if we had taken 10 or 11 listings every single month this year, we'd be a lot closer to 50-50. So marketing listings. So are you, when you take a listing, are you calling through all your buyers to let them know about it? B, make sure you have, like, we only put our listings up on Thursday afternoon or Friday morning. We don't put listings up on a Monday, because if you put a listing up on a Monday, you're going to have an offer before the weekend. So if you want to do an open house, you put up the listing Thursday afternoon, not even Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, Friday morning, then you have an open house on Saturday, because it's easy to let people know that the seller is going to be reviewing offers on Sunday afternoon. So those are probably the 2 biggest things that we're doing. When we take a listing, I mean, we pitch the listing to everyone on our team. We call buyers for it. We're allowed to sell our own listing. I don't know where this misconception came up that you can't sell your own listing inside your brokerage. We can all sell our own listings pre-MLS. So, we have an opportunity as a brokerage to come together way more than we do now and help each other sell our listings even pre-MLS. So we do that on my team currently. We attempt to sell every listing that we take ourselves. Why the heck not? So that's the first place to start, is just call your database and let them know, especially if you list a $250,000, $300,000 home, in Palm Harbor or Dunedin or something, like a sweet price point. You don't even have to call leads. Just call your whole database and say, hey, I've got a listing coming on the market, $300,000 in Dunedin. I'm sure you know somebody looking for a $300,000 home in Dunedin. Can you connect me to them, right? So are you using your listings as a lead gen mechanism?
What a great database touch too, because it just reminds them that what you do, but it reminds them that you need their help. And everyone wants to help each other, and it gets them involved in the game. So that's a really cool idea. I love that. I love that a lot. Cool. So we have 15 more minutes. If anyone has questions, just keep typing them in the chat. So when you think 4th quarter in 2021, what is on your 1-3-5 to implement? What's on your plan to implement? I didn't let Jeff know about any of my question. I didn't give Jeff any heads up on what I was going to ask him either, guys, in all fairness.
This is like the loadedest question of all time. I just made up that word, loadedest.
I like it.
No, I mean, first and foremost, it's me showing up the way that I need to show up. I mean, that's just the way it is. Everybody saw, I mean, we've got a few things we need to do to just shore up my team. Most of you saw that Tanya Lefton is working at the market center. So, obviously we're hiring a transaction manager, so we got to get them trained up. We have a few new agents. We're new to radio. We're transitioning to command. I mean, oh my goodness, we've got so much going on. Moving CRMs for a big team is a massive project. So, moving into command, hiring a new transaction manager, We're likely launching an expansion partner in Orlando. So there's so much, so much. And yet at the end of the day, when you take all of that away, Jessica, the 1, 2, 3 is literally the same as it is now as when I should have been a brand new agent. I should have been doing the show up, lead generate, and have positive energy. And that will literally carry me through everything that I just mentioned to you.
I love it. I love it. And it always starts with us, doesn't it, as leaders? Starts with you individually, for sure. So with Zillow now becoming a competitor, I mean, what do you see that being like? I mean, you've never really been a Zillow dependent person. I know that. However, just imagine that 50% of our MLS is. What do you think about that? What do you see happening with this? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Gosh. Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's the same thing as when Open Door and all of those other people came into our market. You know, Zillow just has a much bigger name brand. So I mean, we have to know how to compete with them because so many more sellers will click on the button of like whatever Zillow puts on their sheet of Zillow helps you, right? So, you know, what is our value proposition going to be around Zillow? And you better know what the answer is. And that's why we need to be known commodities. Like I said earlier in my marketing rant, like I'm never going to be able to compete with Zillow nationally when it comes to exposure. Yet I can compete with Zillow in Allen's Ridge. You know, I mean, I can kick Zillow's ass in Allen's Ridge and Palm Harbor. So I need to pick my battles and I need to own those battles. And if you're doing open houses in a neighborhood, if you're postcarding it, if you're calling it, like you can own the neighborhood over Zillow. And, you know, will you lose one here or there? Sure. And so go find another one or two. So, I mean, I think that's just my persona overall, Jessica, is that we just have to own what we do. And you can't get upset when you lose a deal. I mean, I remember when iBuyers first came in and I lost a couple listings and I wasn't too thrilled, honestly. And we have to keep the emotion out of it because you're going to lose a couple and that's okay. We just have to go find a couple.
Well, I've been looking at other markets that have had Zillow there longer, have had Open Door OfferPad longer, and they never really get past like 6% market share. There's a couple that get to double digits. So it's not like the end of the world. And yet you think about the vulnerability of lead gen and that probably, you know, and I literally just spent an hour doing this and I just went through 4 zip codes and I have a whole page, a whole list of non-KW agents that are spending over $500 a month, right, on Zillow.
Well, the top 2 agents in our market up here spend a lot of money with Zillow.
Right, and it's interesting because when you go there, it divvies up the 100% available, and the first guy has 117. So I don't know what the rest have. So it'll just be interesting, but you just think that's opportunity for agents that need a real business like you have. That's not bought business. That's not dependent on a company, and it's dependent on your relationship. So if I'm an agent and I've kind of dismissed my database and I know Kevin loaded it up and there's all these names and I haven't even dealt with it, what would be the first advice you'd give me? If I joined your team and Kevin just helped me upload all my contacts, what would be my homework for you? Like to get connected with my database or reconnected if I have been kind of icky about that.
Yeah, I mean, call them and let them know that you're in real estate and ask them if you're their person. So that's simple.
So what does that script
Everyone
sound
that
like?
joins our team.
Let's just assume I'm brand new and I'm joining your team and you say, Jess, you need to connect with your database. What's my script?
Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Jessica, it's Jeff Borham. How are you?
Hey, Jeff. Good. What's up?
Hey, well, a lot is up. It's 2020, right? How are you?
Hey, we're doing okay. We're doing okay over here.
Good, good. Glad to hear that. Listen, I wanted to reach out to you. I do have some exciting news, and I wanted you to be one of the first people to know. You know, you've always supported me and always been there, been a great friend for me. And I wanted to let you know I got into real estate and I joined one of the top brokerages in the world, Keller Williams Realty. And not only that, I joined their top team, Team Borham, and I'm just so excited to get into real estate.
Oh, well, congratulations. That's awesome. I'm happy for you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And now the script goes two different ways. If you're, and remember, we're friends, by the way, you're in my database. So if you're a financial advisor, an attorney, someone that I want to meet, I say, yeah, Jessica, now that I'm in real estate, I'd love to find a way that we can help each other. Are you available next Thursday? I can take you out to coffee and we can get to know each other's businesses better and see how we can help each other.
Oh, that'd be great. I love that. That's a great way to do it. Okay. And if I'm just
Okay, so
not
now I said,
okay.
yeah, if you're just an average 9 to 5er, I say, I literally say, so Jessica, now that I'm in real estate, I'm curious, when you have a friend or family member looking to buy or sell real estate, who would you recommend that they call first?
Well, I guess you now, right?
Wow, thank you so much, Jessica. High five through the phone. I so appreciate that, right? And now I follow up with them with a handwritten card and an email, and then they go into my 36 touch and they're going to get invited to our main events and so forth.
It's really that simple, isn't it? And we make it more complicated, don't we?
Well, we need to know if we're their person or not. You can't just be like, hey, I'm in real estate. Who do you know looking to buy or sell real estate? And they're like, well, I don't know anybody. And now you're like, great. Now what do I do? Well, you don't know if they're their cousin or this or that. I actually use the who do you know as a setup for asking the real question at networking events. Because like if Jessica and I clicked, like if we were in a real estate or one of us was in a real estate and Jessica and I met each other, we were having a good conversation. It's been 5 minutes. I'd be like, oh, so Jessica, by the way, who do you know looking to buy or sell a house? And what's Jessica going to say 99% of the time? I don't know. So I say, great. Well, when you do know when somebody's looking to buy or sell real estate, who would you recommend that they call? And this way you can find out if they have somebody that's an agent that they're committed to. And if they don't have someone that they're committed to, I just ask them, well, what would it take for me to be that professional for you? So now I know that there's an open door for me to build a relationship and spend my time, energy, and money on, and versus just spray canning, who do you know that wants to buy a house?
Well, and you hit a really good point that I think sometimes we lose. People that are 9 to 5ers don't work by referral. They don't know they're supposed to refer. They don't know how to refer. It's just out of sight, out of mind. They don't know the logistics of it. They may say, oh, let me get some business cards from you. And you guys know that's the worst thing that could happen. And so that's your opportunity to kind of educate them like, oh, yeah, it probably hasn't dawned on them if they're the average Joe. So I love that. So you have a couple of really good questions left and we're running out of time. So I'm going to just give you all three real quick. Number one is, when do you know when you need to add someone to your team? Number two is, do you use an ISA or call personally yourself? And then number four, oh, that was just a comment. There's a team that's spending over $20,000 a month on Zillow. They're spending more than that, a lot more than that actually. And back to the question number one, how do you know when you need to add someone to your team? And let's talk org chart and sales side and org side. And then what about an ISA?
How do you know? I mean, when you need help is the simple answer. So the MREA is always going to say that when you're doing all that you can do, you hire leverage. Some of us are fortunate that our checkbook is bigger than our time. So the second question then is, when you can afford to, do you want to buy more time back? So the first question is you've got to get your foundation strong, and you get your foundation strong with sweat equity. So you just got to put in the time and the hustle. And then when you're doing all that you can, you hire, and or when your checkbook allows you to and you desire to have time back. Is that fair?
Yep. So what about the sales side? Because and
so
this is a great thing with Tim Heil sharing, he went to 75 agents and then retracted. How do you know when you need to add on the sales force?
That's such an interesting question, and I'm still figuring that out, to be honest with you. Lead flow, right? I mean, when you honestly have enough leads coming in that you don't know that they're being serviced properly, I mean, that's the first clue to me. And honestly, we were bringing in enough leads a couple months ago that we were missing opportunity. And we have one full-time ISA, and we really need two, so we're hiring for an ISA. So we just hired 3 agents because honestly, I felt like we weren't servicing all the leads coming in fully. So for me, that's the number one indicator. Otherwise, I'm of that mindset now, and Gary's been pounding us with that too. You can net $1 million with 7 agents. Why do I have 12 agents and I'm not netting anywhere near $1 million, right?
Right.
Well, that means that I don't have a good enough business. So to answer your question, it needs to be personal. Until you have an ISA department or an internet lead gen department that's bringing in enough business, you're likely the most skilled salesperson on your team. So if you're the most skilled salesperson on your team, you need to be lead generating. And that's where, again, like me, like in March and April, honestly, I didn't do that great of a job. And now I'm lead genning every morning, and obviously more results are showing up.
Absolutely. Yeah, you don't want to give your most important job away. When it comes to ISA, are you using them for outbound prospecting or more nurture of leads, or both?
He's more inbound nurturing. We have a lot of leads coming in, like I said, and really the only outbound that he does is texting for sale by owners. That's really about it.
Got it. So we have 3 minutes left. First of all, I'm so proud of you, and I'm glad that we've grown up in Keller Williams together, because you're always fun to talk to, and we always give each other good ideas. What is the advice you'd give anyone that just needs some wind in their sails right now? What's something they could go do that they'll feel good about to get into motion for the rest of this year?
Yeah, call your friends, man. I mean, who are the people that you like? You know, it's it's pretty easy to get your energy up when you talk to people that you like. So talk to more people that you like. You know, interact with humans. Like if you've been pretty much in quarantine, go interact with humans. I mean, goodness, come to the office, say hello to somebody. I've got plenty. I mean, I have more office space than I need. Come hang out with me. We're lead gen together. you know just
I
talk to
think
people.
back, when I first became team leader, and you and Jake and I would go in that small little training room at the old office, and we give each other a little nudge to get going in the day. And I'd usually just pop in there and say hi, and then I'd go in my office and lead generate. But that's how we did it. And it was having that little peer pressure, peer partner. Because if I wasn't doing it or I walked out early, Jake would be like, "Where are you going? Where are you headed?" And having that is a lot. There's a lot to be said about there, isn't it?
That's honestly, that's part of the reason that catapulted my career was what you're talking about. Peer
Yeah.
accountability is huge.
Well, and if you're not showing up for yourself, reach out and grab a hand, because we're all here for you. So, Jeff, thank you so much for your time and insight. And one last plug, are you hiring anybody on your team? And if so, what does a good team candidate look like for you if someone is listening in and wanting to be part of what you're doing?
We definitely need an ISA, and then B, we really need a productivity coach. So somebody that's experienced and loves helping agents that have issues. So if you know anybody that would fit either of those criteria, we'd love to talk to them.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you. We'll see you in the office soon. I can't wait to see everyone a little bit more normal. And then we're getting there. Take care and have a great rest of your day. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you so much. Have a good one.